One of the pro members dropped a link in the Discord recently and asked if I could take a crack at recreating the effect on their about page. I went through the site and honestly, the hero section stood out to me right away. There is this interaction where you drag your cursor across the page and it feels like you are smudging away a layer of paint, revealing whatever is sitting underneath. I actually explored this idea a while back, but that version was pretty bare bones, just the basic reveal and nothing more. What makes this one feel so different is the motion. The vibe blooms outward as you draw, and then when you stop, it doesn't just cut off, it slowly shrinks back on its own. That breathing quality is what makes it feel alive. That got me experimenting as I wanted to build my own take on it, and after a few iterations, I landed on this version. When you move across the section, you get this soft, gooey trail that peels back the foreground and exposes what's beneath. Let it sit and the whole thing dissolves like it was never there. Under the hood, the approach is an SVG mask pad with a gooey filter. As your cursor moves, we stamp white circles into the mask. The filter melts them together into those smooth, blobby shapes, and then GSAP handles the life cycle of each one, expanding it out and then easing it down to nothing. In this video, I'll walk you through the entire build from scratch step by step. If you'd like to grab the source code for this project, along with hundreds of other similar micro projects and a brand new website template every month, you can check out the Pro membership via the link in the description. And if you find my work helpful, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Alright, let's get into the code. We'll start with the section and give it a class of hero. This is going to hold everything, our two content layers and the SVG that ties the whole effect together. Inside the hero, we need two divs. The first one gets a class of hero content foreground. This is the layer you'll see by default, sitting right on top. The second one gets a class of hero content background. This is the hidden layer underneath, the one that gets revealed as you smudge across the screen. For now, we'll drop an H1 inside the foreground div and an H3 inside the background div, just some placeholder text, so we have something to look at while we build this out. Now for the interesting part, right after those two divs, we'll paste in an SVG element. This SVG is not decorative, it's doing the heavy lifting behind the reveal effect. Let's break down what's inside it. First, inside the definitions, we have a filter. This filter has two stages, a Gaussian blur that softens everything with a standard deviation of 25, followed by a color matrix that snaps that blurry output into hard, blobby shapes. The last row of values in the matrix is what cranks the alpha channel to create that gooey, melted look where shapes merge into each other. Then below the filter, we have a mask with an ID of smudge mask. Inside it sits a group element with the class smudge blobs. This group has our filter applied to it. Later through JavaScript, we'll stamp circles into this group. As you move your cursor around, those circles will merge together through the filter, and because they live inside a mask, they'll control exactly which parts of that background layer are visible. That's all we need for the markup. Next, let's get to styling. First of all, we'll do a basic reset, zero out margins and padding on everything, and make sure our box sizing stays predictable. For the headings, we'll make them uppercase, set the font family. I'm using Hanson here, but you can use whatever you like and bring the line height down tight so the text feels compact. Then for the H1 and H3, we'll use responsive font sizes that scale with the viewport so they look good on any screen width. Next, the hero section itself, we'll make it relative positioned. Since the layers inside it are going to be absolutely positioned, it takes up the full width and full height of the screen with overflow hidden to keep everything contained. Now for the two content layers, both the foreground and the background divs share the same base styles, absolutely positioned, pinned to the top left, stretched to fill the entire hero, some padding, centered text, and will disable text selection so nothing gets highlighted when you are dragging across the screen. Then we style them individually. The foreground uses flex to push its content down to the bottom and gets a dark background with light text. The background layer also uses flex but centers its content in the middle with a lighter background and darker text. And here's the key part, we apply the SVG mask we set up earlier onto this background div. This is what connects our CSS layer to that SVG mask from the HTML. Without this line, there is no reveal effect. This is the bridge between the two. Finally, for the SVG itself, we'll position it absolute at the top left and disable pointer events so it doesn't interfere with any of our mouse or touch interactions. We are not setting its dimensions here because we'll handle that dynamically through JavaScript. And that wraps up this styling. Next, let's get into the JavaScript where the actual effect comes to life. First of all, we'll import GSAP since we'll need it later to animate the circles that make up this smudge trail. Next, we'll set up a config object. The idea here is to keep every tunable value for the effect in one place so we can experiment without touching the logic. Smoothing controls how lazily the pointer trails behind your cursor. A lower value means more drag. Movement threshold is the minimum distance the pointer needs to travel before we bother stamping a new circle, so we are not flooding the DOM when the cursor is barely moving. Size from speed ties the radius of each circle to how fast you are moving. Faster strokes create larger smudges, slower ones create a finer detail. Then we have the expand and dissolve settings, which control the life cycle of each circle, how much it grows after being placed, when it starts to shrink, and how long it takes to disappear completely. This gives the smudge that organic feel where it blooms open and then slowly melts away. Then we'll grab our DOM elements, the hero section because that's where we'll listen for pointer events, the SVG element because we need to resize it dynamically, and the group inside the mask because that's where every circle gets injected. After that, we need to set up our pointer tracking. We create two separate objects, one for the raw pointer position which updates instantly when you move, and one for the smooth pointer which will chase the raw position with a delay. The gap between these two is what gives us speed. The further apart they are, the faster you are moving. We also have a flag that starts as false and flips to true once the user interacts for the first time, so the effect stays dormant until there is actual input. Now we'll write a function to handle pointer movement. It takes in x and y coordinates, and the first time it's called, it sets both the raw pointer and the smooth pointer to the exact same position. We do this because if only the raw pointer gets set on the first move, the smooth pointer would still be sitting at 0, and it would have to catch up from the top left corner of the page. That would create a huge phantom smudge across the screen. By syncing them up on the first call, we avoid that entirely. After that first interaction, it simply updates the raw pointer with whatever new coordinates come in. Then right below, we listen for mouse move on the hero section and pass those coordinates into this function. We also need this to work on touch devices, so we'll add a touch start listener on the hero. We prevent the default behavior because without that, the browser would try to scroll the page or trigger pull to refresh while you are trying to interact with the effect. We pass the touch coordinates into the same pointer function, so both input types feed into the same system. We also mark this listener as non-passive, which tells the browser we intend to call prevent default. Otherwise, some browsers will ignore it for performance reasons. And we'll do the exact same thing for touch move. Same idea, prevent default, grab the position, feed it through. Touch start alone would only capture the initial tap, but touch move is what keeps the effect going as you drag your finger across the screen. Without it, you'd get a single dot and nothing else. Next, we'll handle the SVG sizing and the core stamping logic. That's where the circles actually get created and animated. We need to make sure our SVG always matches the size of the viewport. Remember, the circles we stamp into the mask use pixel coordinates based on where the cursor is on screen. If the SVG is a different size than the viewport, those coordinates won't line up and the reveal will appear in the wrong spot. So we write a small function that sets the SVG's width and height to match the window dimensions. We call it once right away so it's correct on load, and then again on every resize so it stays in sync if the user changes their browser window. Next, we'll create the function that actually stamps a smudge onto the screen. It takes in an X position, a Y position, and a radius, everything it needs to place a circle. Inside it, the first thing we do is create an SVG circle element. We can't use regular document create element here because SVG elements live in a different namespace than HTML. So we use create element ns with the SVG namespace to make sure the browser treats it as a proper SVG shape. We set its center coordinates to the X and Y that were passed in, set its radius, and fill it with white because inside an SVG mask, white means visible. Wherever this white circle exists in the mask, the background layer will show through. Then we prepend it into this smudge container, which is that group element sitting inside our mask. Now we want to animate this circle's radius over time, but GSAP can't directly tween an SVG attribute in a way that gives us control we need here, so instead we create a plain object with a current property set to the initial radius. GSAP will animate this number and will manually push it back onto the circle on every frame. To handle that, we set up a GSAP timeline on every update, meaning every single frame the timeline is active. We take whatever the current animated radius value is and apply it back to the circle. We also make sure it never goes below 0, just as a safety net. And when the timeline finishes, we kill it to free up resources and remove the circle from the DOM entirely. This cleanup is important because without it, you would end up with hundreds of invisible circles piling up in the mask and performance would tank. Then we add two twins to this timeline. The first one expands the radius. It takes the initial size and scales it up based on our expand multiplier over the expand duration. This gives each smudge that blooming effect where it grows outward right after it's placed. The second twin shrinks the radius down to 0, which makes the circle disappear. We pass in the dissolve start value as a position parameter which tells GSAP when this twin should begin on the timeline. So the circle expands first and then dissolve kicks in. There is a brief overlap where it's still growing while it starts to fade, and then overlap is what makes the transition feel smooth and organic rather than abrupt. Finally, we write the update loop. This is the heartbeat of the entire effect. Every frame, if the user has started interacting, we move the smooth pointer a little closer to the raw pointer. The amount it moves each frame is controlled by our smoothing value. So instead of jumping directly to where the cursor is, it eases toward it gradually. This is what creates that trailing fluid feel. Then we calculate the speed by measuring the distance between the raw pointer and the smooth pointer. If that speed is above our movement threshold, we call our stamp function at the smooth pointer's position with a radius based on how fast you are moving. If you are badly moving, the speed drops below the threshold and nothing gets stamped. This prevents the effect from flooding the mask and tiny circles when the cursor is nearly still. We kick the whole thing off with a request animation frame call, and the function keeps calling itself every frame from there. And that's it. The smudge revealer is fully wired up, 2 layers, an SVG mask with a Gooey filter, and a trail of animated circles connecting them. Move your cursor and the background bleeds through. Stop moving and it slowly melts away. Hope you found the video helpful. See you in the next one.